Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. With me, CEO of Matchroom, Frank Smith. Frank, how are we doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
You hot in that blazer?
Boiling. I'm slightly overweight as well, which probably doesn't help.
Mate, don't worry, the camera doesn't focus on that area, it focuses on the face. So you're all right to take off if you want to.
No, it's too far gone. You know that moment when you go, the shirt's too sweaty, so we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it.
Whoever thought Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn would get in the ring? I think there were people thinking that it may happen down the line as almost a cash-out fight, but no one realised or thought that Conor Benn would risk it right now.
Yeah, look, it's a fight that's been spoken about for a long time. You know, even since Conor turned pro, and at that point it was like a different way, you know, different points of their career. I think now's the right time for it to be made. You know, it's a huge occasion, and sometimes when you're close to it you don't quite realise how big it is, but I think this week has shown the numbers around it all, the press conferences, the social media, the ticket sales. This is huge, and I'm glad it is happening now, because it's quite easy with a lot of these fights that it's too late in the day, one of them retires, something happens, and then you don't get to see it. So I'm glad we made it.
I know there was a rush to kind of get this press conference on ahead of Joshua Fight Week, but wouldn't it have been a lot better if both fathers were here as well?
It's not about their fathers, like this one. You know, like the story that's got us to this point is, but ultimately it's about these two guys, and they've come out of their father's shadow to get to this point, and I think we have to appreciate that. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the dads will be involved. You know, I'm sure Nigel's going to be involved in Conor's camp. They're on Fight Week. I'm sure Senior will be at Fight Week and around, you know, Junior. So like you'll get that as well. But this is about these two guys, and the fight's huge just with these two.
There's a lot of talk during the press conference about the weight. I know there's nothing confirmed out in terms of what is the fighting weight and what is the rehydration clause. Not sure if you can say, but rumours are about 157 pounds. But Chris Eubank Jr. is very adamant that he won't be 100% on the night because he's going to have to make this weight, and then obviously make sure he doesn't fill up too much on fight night.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, you know, you got disadvantage and advantage for both guys. Chris is coming down 3 pounds from, you know, I think he hasn't made 157 since he was 18 years old or something like that. That's going to be hard for him, because it always is those last couple of pounds for every fight, they'll tell you, especially when he's not a massive middleweight. Like, he's always been around the sort of, I think he said he's 170 now or something like that. You know, that's quite close to his fighting weight. But then Conor's coming up 10 pounds. So both of them are going to have strengths, weaknesses, you know, in the fight, which essentially evens it out in some ways, you know. But Conor's making that big jump of 10 pounds, so you can't just look at one side and go he's going to be 60% of them. I think what he's saying is I'll beat him at 60% of myself. Whether that's being a bit facetious, you know, they both got a lot of confidence. Chris thinks he walks through in this fight, Conor thinks he knocks him out. Can't wait to see it.
O2, how have tickets gone?
Flying. Every pre-sale sold out in record time. The general sale tomorrow, but it's going to be a big night, and my phone has not stopped.
Pay-per-view. A lot of people saying that this shouldn't be pay-per-view, and DAZN, when they launched, they said that they will produce 4 massive shows a year, something in the lines of 4 or 5 massive pay-per-view shows, which will be available to subscribers on DAZN. Why is this then pay-per-view?
I think there's different fights which are differing levels, that some will be part of your subscription. Our job is to deliver high-end shows as part of the subscription. Shows like this, to make them work, and you know, we discussed it around Canelo Golovkin as well, Canelo Bivol, to make them financially viable. When your competitors are all doing pay-per-view, that's a model you have to utilise. And you know, you always go back to, we won't do pay-per-view, but business models change, business plans change, and to make these kind of fights, we have to do it. And this fight would be pay-per-view on any platform, because that's how it has to work to make it happen.
How tough is it going to be for yourself to sell the pay-per-views that you've got coming up? Obviously, I know we've got Sky are doing Joshua Usyk, you've got Canelo, Triple G, early hours of the morning. The week after, we've got Parker, Joyce. 2 weeks later, we've got Ben and Eubank Jr. In a time where cost of living's gone crazy, you know, how can we excel and bring fans to buy these events?
Look, I think with these fights, Anthony Joshua is the biggest pay-per-view star, alongside Canelo in boxing. You know, and he continues to do huge numbers. Canelo Golovkin is one of the biggest fights in boxing. The last one was pay-per-view. The second fight between the two of them in the UK. Joyce against Parker, I don't think it's pay-per-view. Like, as in, not I don't think it's pay-per-view, but I don't see it doing the numbers that these fights will. This is going to do huge numbers. This, like, we've seen the noise around it. It's another level, you know. So I'm sure if that was in a different time, it would do better numbers. Like, as in, if it wasn't jammed around all these different shows. But I think it's difficult to compare this to Joyce against Parker, in all honesty.
Just moving away from this, a couple of other updates, if it's okay. Frank Warren won purse bids for Boazzi, Callum Johnson. Bivol looks like he's going to fight Ramirez now. So what is the situation with Boazzi? Yeah,
Boazzi withdrew from that purse bid, and the focus is now for getting a big fight for Joshua Boazzi. You know, John Pascal's one that's been mentioned, the IBF eliminator. His focus is a world title now. So whichever route we take to get to that, that's the plan.
Tyson Fury, DERECK CHISORA, it looked like it was going towards that way. Eddie's spoken about it, that it's going to take place in December. It's a trilogy, but Tyson now all of a sudden has announced his retirement again from the sport of boxing on his birthday.
Yeah, I mean, the man's announced more retirements than... like, this guy just makes it up as he goes along, doesn't he? And everyone follows it, everyone writes about it, everyone gives him the time of day, but he'll be back. Next week he might fight Thor, or whatever his name is. Who knows? I don't, take it all with a pinch of salt.
Frank, if he says in retire, is it time for the WBC to say, well, we'll take the belt back now, you have to vacate the belt now, we're going to let our number 1 and number 2 fight?
I think if he says he's going to retire, then I think you really have to. If someone's coming out saying, I'm retiring from boxing, then their job is to keep the belts active. If he was saying, no, I'm still deciding what I'm doing, fair enough. Like, he's not pushed to make him, he hasn't got a mandatory set, you know, he can do that. But I think if he's coming out saying he's retiring, they probably should do.
And then what next for DERECK CHISORA?
There's big fights out there for DERECK CHISORA. I still personally want to see the Dillian Whyte fight. I think it's huge.
Do you think it'll be made?
I think so.
There are rumours Dillian Whyte and Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's come from. Maybe that's a fight they look at, but I think DERECK CHISORA, Dillian Whyte's much bigger.
August 27th, another big show. Is that pay-per-views or KSI?
KSI against Swarms, yeah.
So, sorry, I missed that from my list as well originally. But bad luck there. Obviously, his opponent pulled out.
Yeah, 100%. But it's also a different market as well. Completely different group. Oh, here he comes. It's Tyson Fury's opponent.
How are you, Frank?
Good.
So, Frank, which side are you on?
What's it tomorrow?
No, on this fight.
So, right. I'm on the side of boxing. I think, you know, it's going to deliver for the sport of boxing.
You see that?
And, you know, ultimately, it's for the good of the sport.
Yeah, you know, that's a good answer.
Yeah,
but he's on the side of boxing. Yeah, he is on the side of boxing.
Because I'm more scared. I'm scared of my missus and Conor Ben. And then DERECK CHISORA.
Yeah, good answer. Yeah. Boxing wins on this one.
Derek, I just asked him who we're going to see Derek in the ring with next, and he said he'll love to see the Dillian Whyte rematch.
But Dillian Whyte find Dubois.
I don't know.
They find Dubois. Yeah.
You're fighting Tyson Fury, aren't you? Out of retirement.
I guy's got bipolar, bro. I'll see you later.
See you in a bit.
Hey, if you're in London, come we'll have dinner.
Speak to you in a bit. See you in Saudi.
Rowdy in Saudi.
That's the one. That'll be Derek.
You were just talking about KSI.
Yeah, I think, you know, you mentioned pay-per-view there. It is a completely different audience as well, KSI's audience. And it will do huge numbers, because these guys do. But it's a very different audience to the traditional boxing audience, I would say.
Leewood, Santa Cruz, purse bids?
Yeah, I mean, it's all going on, you know, it's gone back and forth, things have changed, so it's supposed to be later today.
Next week, Joshua Usyk, we know it's on Sky. When I spoke to the Sky team a couple of weeks ago in Bournemouth for Billiam Smith-Chamberlain, they said that they will get a couple of slots on the show because obviously they bought the rights. Now, there were rumours that Ben Whittaker will be on the show, but Eddie said, well, that's nothing to do with Sky, that's a 258 thing. So is he on the show, is he not on the show? Do Sky get slots?
No, Sky don't get slots. You know, the discussion around Ben Whittaker is led by 258. I've worked, you know, discussed closely with Freddie Cunningham, and you know, I think the plan is for him to go on there. Haven't announced anything yet. Still working through some details, but that's the plan. But yeah, heavily led by 258. Had Sully Sissoko on the show originally. He pulled out, so there was a slot on there, and you know that's the plan right now. So discussing frequently with Freddie Cunningham.
I've heard it's a 13-14 fight card next Saturday, starting at 5 p.m.
I think it's 11 or 12, 5 p.m. start time, yeah.
Frank, safe travels to Saudi next week, and yeah, we'll catch you out there.
Thanks, mate. Good to see you.
Frank Smith, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad, I've punched him a few more times.
5 blokes outside my front door, can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.